Book of Recaps is going to explain the movie name 12 Fail. The movie began in a small village in the Chambal district of Madhya Pradesh. It started in a small house with a father, his daughter, 2 elder sons, old mother and wife. In the beginning, we witnessed Manoj Kumar cheating on his 12th examination. A friend of Manoj's father, who worked with him in his office, arrived with a suspension letter from Manoj's father, which he refused to accept. When the grandmother inquired, the friend explained that his father had not signed a paper given by the village's Vidayak, an unjust act, and even slapped the chairman with his slippers. The colleague left the home after posting the suspension letter on the wall. The next scene opened in a 12th board examination classroom where students gathered to take the exam. Because they had failed several times and the school belonged to the village's Vidhayak Ji, he provided a facility for all students to pass. The teacher wrote answers on the board and the students copied them. Meanwhile, an honest DSP entered the class and, observing what was happening, went to the principal's office, where the principal was bribing him. The DSP arrested the school principal with the bribe amount and took a photograph of it. Next, we learned that Manoj and his brother failed again, and their father decided to fight against corruption. He left home with a heavy heart, leaving his family in tears. Manoj and his brother devised a plan to earn a small amount of money to sustain their household. They faced difficulty when their plan, a transport vehicle, was stopped by the goons of Vidhayak Ji, and both were arrested by a corrupt police officer. During a lengthy conversation between the corrupt policeman and Manoj was released so that he could retrieve his gun to kill the police officer. Instead, he used his wit and went to the honest DSP's quarters, explaining the entire situation. As Manoj spoke maturely, the DSP agreed to accompany him to the police station. Upon arrival, he ordered the corrupt police officer to release Manoj's brother. On their way home, the DSP gave them a lift, and there he discovered that Manoj was one of the students in the school where he had stopped cheating. He taught Manoj that cheating is wrong, emphasizing the importance of hard work, and took a promise from him not to cheat anymore. Impressed by the DSP's power, Manoj wanted to become a powerful police officer himself. He left the village to pursue his B.A. degree. Upon completing his degree, he returned home and expressed his desire to undergo PCS training. His grandmother generously gave him her entire lifetime pension, instructing him not to disclose the amount. Taking a bus from his village to Alwar, Manoj was shocked to discover, upon waking up at the bus stand, that his bag and all his essential belongings had been stolen. Upon inquiry, he learned that the lady sitting next to him had taken the bag 30 minutes earlier. With the money from his grandmother lost, Manoj faced a financial crisis. He had no funds for rent, and the PCS exam had been cancelled for 2 years. He endured hunger for many days outside a restaurant, but one day, unable to bear his hunger any longer, he approached the restaurant owner and asked for some food. The owner provided him with a meal but declined when Manoj offered to work to pay for it. Upon persistent insistence, a voice spoke up, saying, "Brother, I will pay for your meal." The voice belonged to Pritam Pandey, another PC aspirant. Now, Pritam Pandey was headed to Delhi's Mukherjee Nagar to prepare for the UPSC exam, aspiring to become either an IPS or an IAS officer. Manoj expressed his desire to join Pritam in Delhi, and Pritam agreed. Together, they made their way to Delhi. The following day, they approached Gauri Bhaiya, who had once aspired for UPSC, and reached the final interview, but unfortunately faced a different fate. After exhausting all attempts, Gauri Bhaiya turned to motivating other UPSC aspirants, inspiring them to restart their lives. Witnessing Gauri Bhaiya's perseverance, Pritam switched to an English coaching center, while Manoj continued to stay with Gauri Bhaiya. In the UPSC prelims, Manoj did not succeed, but Pritam qualified. However, Pritam faced disappointment in the UPSC mains. While working part-time jobs, Manoj visited Pritam Pandey's coaching center to serve tea. There, he met Deepak Mohan, who had recently qualified for UPSC and become an IPS officer. Deepak Mohan assured Manoj Kumar that he could reach out to him anytime without hesitation. After exploring various coaching centers, Manoj Kumar eventually joined a library for a part-time job and enrolled in a coaching center. His story took a turn when he met Sharda, another UPSC aspirant. Sharda mistakenly believed that Manoj was an aeronautical engineer, even though he never corrected her. Manoj had a soft spot for her, fearing that revealing the truth might lead her to leave him. They began spending time together, studying together, and a crucial moment arrived when a topic on aeronautical engineering was discussed in class. Sharda, thinking Manoj was an aeronautical engineer, hesitated to answer a question. When Sharda later discovered that Manoj was not an aeronautical engineer, but just a BA pass, she didn't say anything to him. Instead, she went to her home in Mussoorie for the UPSC prelims. Unfortunately, Manoj failed in his third attempt. Feeling dejected after his third failure and the departure of Sharda, Manoj went to Mussoorie to meet her at her home. However, he learned that she had gone to attend a wedding at her paternal aunt's house. The household worker helped him talk to Sharda on the phone. Sharda questioned why he had come to her house instead of focusing on his ambitions and restarting. Around the same time, Manoj visited his village, only to discover that his grandmother had passed away. When he asked his mother why she hadn't informed him, he learned that his grandmother didn't want to see him in distress. Manoj returned to Delhi, where he had a brief altercation with the librarian and left the library. Subsequently, he found work in a flour mill, putting in long hours of 12 to 14 per day. At night, he studied under a single lamp. One day, Gauri Bahaya, accompanied by Manoj's father, visited him at the flour mill. Overwhelmed to see his father, both father and son made a decision. Manoj cleared the prelims in his fourth attempt. In his classroom, he unexpectedly met Sharda again. However, he failed in the mains, misunderstanding the topic tourism of India as terrorism in India while writing an essay. Seeking guidance, Manoj approached Deepak Mohan, now an IPS officer. Deepak Mohan assigned Manoj an essay on Manoj Kumar Sharma, but he struggled to write even 80 to 90 words in 8 minutes and 20 seconds. Deepak Mohan advised Manoj that UPSC might not be the right path for him. Disheartened, Manoj visited Gauri Bahaya's tea stall, where he found Sharda. Pritam Pandey, who was also unsuccessful in his prelims, appeared inebriated and advised Manoj that Sharda would ruin his life and wouldn't stay with him if he wasn't successful. Filled with shame, Sharda left, and Manoj followed her, pleading with her not to go. In response, Sharda confessed her feelings, proposing to Manoj and asking him to face the world together. Manoj returned to his Attachaki and intensified his studies. Gauri Bahaya supported him by providing a room and taking care of facilities, even sending money to Manoj's home. Sharda cleared her prelims and went to Missouri for her mains exam. Later, Manoj learned from Sharda that she passed the interview and is now a deputy collector. Overwhelmed by Sharda's success, Manoj felt doubly motivated. In his last attempt, he cleared both the prelims and mains. Pritam Pandey, on the other hand, failed in his last attempt and harbored resentment towards Manoj's success. Sharda, wanting to come to Delhi, faced opposition from her father, who learned from an unknown source that his daughter had shared a bed with Manoj Kumar. When Manoj discovered Pritam's involvement in spreading this false information, he called Pritam, who was at the police station. In a swift response, Manoj reached the station, reprimanded the dishonest police officer, and checked Pritam's mobile, confirming his involvement. Manoj devastated Pritam with his words. Sharda's parents eventually agreed to her wish to go to Delhi. She arrived in Delhi and attended the interview with Manoj, handing him a letter to read alone. In the interview room, Manoj's 12 compartments left a significant impact on the interviewers. They asked him to wait for 2 minutes outside. Reading Sharda's letter, he discovered her proposal to marry him, regardless of whether he became an IPS or not. After answering a few more questions, he was asked to leave. On the result day, uncertain about whether his name would appear on the list, Manoj was delighted to find that he had succeeded. Gauri Bahaya was overwhelmed. Pritam Pandey became a reporter, and Manoj's whole family rejoiced. In the end, IPS Manoj Kumar Sharma visited a police station where he met an honest DESP. Manoj handed his first wedding invitation to the DSP, who recognized him and warmly hugged him. Manoj's wedding procession headed to Missouri, with the Vidhayak Ji, chairman, and his goons sitting in the makeshift transport. Thus, the movie comes to an end.